In this unit, we are going to revise models of obligation, prohibition, and necessity. Obligation. We use the verbs have to and must to express obligation, although there is a difference in the way they are both used. Must shows us that the obligation is imposed by the speaker. Must is used by the speaker to a. Show authority. I must hand in my essay by Friday. You must be here 5 minutes before the exam. B. Give strong advice. You must call her and say sorry for what you did. You mustn't stay awake all night. You need to sleep before the exam. Must not or mustn't are used to express that something is not permitted. You mustn't copy in the exam. Have to or don't have to are used to express obligations imposed by other people rather than by the speaker. I have to pick up my mother up at the hospital at 6 p.m. When I was at school, we didn't have to wear a uniform. Should, shouldn't, and ought to are used to show obligation, more in a moral way. I ought to, I should let my employees have more days off. Now, let's see how these verbs work in the past. When expressing obligation in the past, we use had to, since there's no past form of must. We had to go back home because of the storm. For questions, we can use must, though have to is more commonly used. Must you have a second pair of glasses in the car? Do you know if we have to finish the project before Sunday? And remember, there are other expressions used for obligation, such as be supposed to, had better, it is compulsory, it is necessary, etc. You'd better get ready for school because the bus will be arriving soon. It is compulsory to write your name in the exam. Prohibition. We use the verbs can't, mustn't, must not, and may not, more formal, to show that something is prohibited, not allowed. Can't generally gives the idea of something that it is against the norm. It expresses obligation, although there is a difference in the way they are both used. You can't go into that nightclub if you are under 18. Mustn't usually means that it is the speaker who is setting the rule. You mustn't use your phone in class. May not is more formal. You may not leave the premises until you are told to do so. And finally, be allowed to, which is used to express that there was someone else prohibiting something to another person. It shows obligation more in a moral way. I'm not allowed to speak during the exam. For the past, we use couldn't, weren't, wasn't allowed to, which are used to express prohibition in the past. May has no past form. We weren't allowed to, or we couldn't take off our shoes during lessons. When we are talking about a specific situation in the past, we can use be allowed to, but not could. I had an argument with my father, but eventually I was allowed to go out. And remember, there are other expressions used for prohibition. It is forbidden, it is not permitted. Taking pictures inside the museum is completely forbidden. Necessity. When we want to express necessity for something, we use need to. And when we want to express the lack of necessity, we use don't need to and needn't. For example, can you get some flour? I need to make a cake. I didn't do any homework. Good, because you didn't need to do any homework. I know you were ill, so I brought you some chocolates to cheer you up. You needn't have bothered.